Greetings, Saturday morning marketing Smarties. And we are back live, and I am joined by Molly Youngblood Geiger. And I'm just going to start off right now. Molly, go ahead and say hi and tell everybody who you are.
Hi everyone, my name is Molly Youngblood Geiger. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. My agency's name is Design Right For You. And I am currently participating with Google in a few platforms they offer, one as a Google Rising Star. I'm also a Google Partners Community Ambassador and a Google Small Business Community Advisor.
Very good. And that's why we call Molly the Google lady. And there's no way I could repeat half of what she said, but she's the epitome of what Google has to offer and what the cutting edge of what Google is bringing to the table for internet marketing and for users in general. So now that we know who Molly is, who am I? Hi, I'm Roland, and I'm the sponsor of this show. And it is my pleasure to bring an educational platform to the world and bring interesting things that we should be aware of, especially if we're trying to market online. Now, marketing online is not just how to sell something. It's really changed, and people don't believe me, and they'll see that, or they'll witness what I'm saying. Marketing has changed, and they go, okay, I get it, but you're really not getting it. And I say that with a bit of heart involved because I didn't get it either until I really experienced what was going on. But the internet market platform, the environment has changed so much that many of the rules of a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago or more, they must be at least questioned before you just follow along and do what you used to do. So what this program is about is educating you on some new ideas and new concepts and perspectives that may very well change everything that you do online for marketing. So that's part of what we do. Having the tools is one thing, and there are lots of them. And because we have Molly here, we're up to date with a lot of the tools that they offer, and we're going to be asking her about some stuff. And she's actually got a couple of things that she can present and talk about today that may be of very high interest to you. So one of the things that we're going to do is continue to educate and bring on new ideas and the latest things happening. You know, we'll be talking about Blab, and I'm kind of over Periscope and Meerkat already, but Blab is a biggie. It opens up the concept of Twitter connection. If you're not a tweeter, it doesn't matter because you can take advantage of the community as it is and the platform. And Blab is right up the alley for people who are getting used to Hangouts and use that as an outreach. So it's kind of a short sidestep to incorporate the Blab concept. In my opinion, it's not going to replace Hangouts, but it's worth talking about. So we'll be spending some time on that eventually, maybe not today. I see William Rock, I see John Quatal, I see Nancy Stubbs, I see Bill Graham. Hi, Bill. And Gary Whalen, I see you. And I'm really happy that all you guys are commenting. One of the things that the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties is known for is high interaction. I think that has to do with the fact that we had some smart people actually regurgitating the information. By the way, Molly, I'm not doing a monologue here, and this is a conversation. So anytime you want to jump in, because I don't have a format today. I'm just talking.
Sure. Well, I mean, I would just quickly add to what you're talking about, utilizing the different technologies that are available to businesses to market themselves online. And earlier this week, I actually did a post where I talked about several different strategies that complement one another to get that end result. Specifically, what I was talking about is when you are able to take search engine optimization and integrate it with a brand new product, which is called Google Now. Ultimately, what you're doing is you're taking your business and you're making it available to the general public. Kind of ties into search engine optimization. I'll just quickly go into that. That's when a business owner optimizes their website for search. And then what happens is Google actually indexes that website. And then say somebody is on an Android phone and they have Google Now, which is the assistant on an Android device. It will actually make a recommendation. Hey, if you're in this area and you're looking for, let's just say, a pizza parlor, and you've got your website optimized, well, then that gives the Google Now an opportunity to actually recommend, hey, you should go to this pizzeria. In addition to that, we have something known as voice recognition. They actually are improving this, and in fact, just this week they announced that if you're a Google Docs user, you can actually now talk into a Google Doc, meaning you don't have to go and actually be on the device. And I think that's a really great advancement, because a lot of people are on mobile devices, and I know I can even say for myself, I'm finding now that instead of working just from my laptop, I'm actually working from my smartphone now. And I think that's I think that's a big step, because a lot of people, they have a hard time separating working from, say, a laptop or a desktop to actually working on their smartphone. And I'm still actually on a learning curve with this myself, but I think that, you know, when Google makes improvements with voice recognition and they make improvements like Google Now, that is leading to a whole different type of psychology for a business owner, because they literally, on the fly, they could open up a Google Doc and talk into it and create a document for work, versus saying, oh, I'm going to have to wait till I get back to the office or get back to the, you know, the brick and mortar location to do the work. So I think that's a huge improvement for business owners in general. Again, go ahead. I was going to go into mobile usage, but I'm just finding, just for my own self, I'm watching people and I'm watching them, and they're all on mobile. I mean, I'll walk into a restaurant, and I would say, you know, 90% of the people that I see in that restaurant are on a smartphone or tablet. And I really think that this is the wave that Google's trying to tap into, is they're trying to say, hey, okay, we see what the trends are, and that goes into video marketing, and that's a whole nother hangout. But, you know, things like what we're doing right now with Google Hangouts on Air, where we're talking about different subjects that's going to help a business owner, and we give the person the ability to watch it from mobile via video. I tell people all the time, if you're a business owner and you're trying to share information about your business, how do you think your users want to find that information? Do you think they want to sit and read paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, or do you think they're going to want to sit and click a play button and watch maybe, you know, a minute or 2 minute video about your business? So I think when you can put yourself in the user's, you know, shoes and try and act like, okay, I'm a customer, how am I going to want to receive the content that my business is trying to communicate? That, to me, is a key strategy for a business owner, is to put yourself in the shoes of your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we are often running on subjects already, and the crowd and watching in the audience is already off and running. And one of the things that grabbed my focus here is a mention that Jeremy Murphy, hi Jeremy, thank you for joining in the rest of us. But he says, howdy, Blab is awesome and addictive. Let me share this. I mean, sometimes I forget that I've got this facility that I'm playing with. Okay, Blab is awesome and addictive, great for discussions, education, Q&A, and marketing. It's a disruptive innovation that is changing interactive video live streaming. Small business owners really have to know this platform. It creates a viral impact on your upward trend of Twitter followers too. Okay, so point well taken. And I would emphasize Blab is maybe my doorway into Twitter usage, because I'm not a tweeter. I mean, I'm admittedly a Google Plus fanatic, and have not made much of a claim on Twitter. So it's going to be a crossover thing that allows me to participate and take advantage of the masses of people who are tweeting and participating in the community and on the platform, and not have to do standard tweeting. I have a problem getting anything said in 140 characters. There's no way, you know. So a couple things in the midst of this. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. I want this interaction, and unfortunately, it's moving so fast now that I'll have trouble monitoring it and saying what I'm saying too. But one of the things that we want to do with the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties show is incorporate more of what the people have to say. Now, that's not to take away from the people who are speaking from within the Smarties show, because we have several people who know what they're talking about, and I really love having them. I'm just really glad that they want to come back week after week, because if they didn't, that would tell me something about the show. But they come back. It's an opportunity for them to express themselves. It's giving everybody some exposure. It's educating a lot of people to things that they don't know. But we're not the only ones that know stuff. The people in the audience are pretty dang smart. And I oftentimes find that they have things that are worth mentioning that certainly I hadn't thought of, maybe nobody in the green room thought of. So rather than let that go and not be a part of the educational platform of what we built here, I'm going to be changing the format of Smarties a bit. And there are going to be impromptu times when I actually say, so-and-so, I really like your statement here. We want to pursue this further. I'm going to send you an invitation to the green room. And then you're going to have to decide out from the audience whether you're going to accept it or not. And then if you come in, you can be a part of the conversation. And now the dynamics of that might be, well, we might spend the whole rest of the hour talking about what you brought to the table, or we might spend 5 or 10 minutes on it, cover the subject, and move on to the next thing. I won't be booting you out of the green room necessarily. I might, but I don't know that yet. But my intention is to bring smart people, Smarties, into the green room and have them build upon the conversation at hand. And if we decide that your opinion is worth it, we're going to bring you in and you can participate. And for that particular episode, you'll be a part of what's going on. So that's the engagement factor. We're hoping that you will be open to participating too and have some fun with this. So in the meantime, let's see if we have anything more going on over there.
I was just going to quickly add to your conversation there about having an open green room and inviting audience members in. I've actually done that with some of the Hangouts I've done. As I mentioned, I'm very active in the Google Partners community, but I've done several Hangouts where after the Hangout where I had a guest on, I would invite people into the green room, and we had some really great conversations. Even if it's just stop by and say hi, or as you mentioned, if they have a certain subject that they want to talk about that we can bounce off of one another, I think it's a great opportunity to learn from each other. So I'm very excited about this new change with the Smarties.
Yeah, and it's morphing right now, and we don't know exactly where it's going to go. We're experimenting. So there's a comment by Nancy Stubbs that I wanted to highlight here. She says, I am frustrated with Periscope and Instagram not being available on my Android device and only replays on laptop. They know about it and are working on it. I love Blab as it is associated with Twitter and it works on my laptop. So the compatibility of these new things that are coming out, they're all working on these things. And Nancy brings up a really good point. Something that is universal is going to be the best starting point. And then other than that, if you do use Periscope or whatever, you have to understand you're talking to a limited audience. You're engaging in a different way, but you're still talking to a limited audience. And one of the things that I like about Google Hangouts is that people join us from cell phones, laptops, tablets, etc. And can, it's not the best platform for consistency. I mean, we happen to have Comment Tracker working today, but 75% of the time it doesn't. It has its problems, but it is always here. I have not had a show completely fail and cancel because Hangouts was having a problem. So
I was just going to quickly add to that, Google Hangouts on Air, Google Hangouts, that's my preferred video platform. Not only because it's readily available, but what I really like about Google Hangouts on Air versus some of the other platforms out there is the legacy of it, meaning it automatically records YouTube and the search capabilities, meaning if you include certain keywords within the title of your Google Hangout on Air or within the description, Google actually indexes that. So say, and I'll just quickly share one of my stories about how I got started on Google Hangouts on Air. So about a year and a half ago, I found out I was going to become a Google Partners Community Ambassador. And I got this really cool video kit from Google, camera, lights, all this really nice stuff. And it sat on my desk for like 4 months. And I kept looking at it. I'm like, what am I going to do? I hate the way I look on video. I hate the way I sound. I don't like getting in front of a camera. I've got to figure out how to do this Google Hangouts on Air. And so I literally sat down one night and I said, okay, I'm going to do a search. How do you host a Google Hangout on Air? And so I found a few results, but one that caught my eye right off the bat was an article that was on Forbes.com called The Ultimate Guide to Hosting a Google Hangouts on Air. I'm like, hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I got on there, I started interacting with the host, and by the way, it was actually the very first Google Hangouts on Air on Forbes.com. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and so I started interacting with the host, and we started doing just private chats and hangouts. And before I knew it, she asked me, she's like, Molly, will you be a co-host on this hangout on Forbes.com? Now, bear in mind, I have no experience at this point. I've never been on a hangout, but at the same time, I'm realizing, hey, this is a huge opportunity, to be on the very first Google Hangouts on Air on Forbes.com. And so I just said, yeah, count me in. And I actually wound up having a couple of my clients participate. But from there, I can just say my experience has been, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know about it, I'm not sure about it. The best way to get started with Google Hangouts on Air is exactly what you're doing right now. Start watching Google Hangouts on Air. From there, when you feel more comfortable, if you want to jump in the green room like Roland's proposing that we do, we'd love to have you stop by. And then from there, if you are considering hosting a Google Hangouts on Air, I would recommend just test it out on yourself or a family member or a friend. Just get familiar with getting in front of the camera. And then from there, and I know this sounds crazy, but once you get a hang of it, you will start really enjoying hosting or participating on Google Hangouts on Air, because it's a great opportunity to learn from other people. It's a great marketing opportunity, and it has a lot of value with search. So I strongly recommend checking out Google Hangouts on Air.
So Molly, you wrapped it up in one long mouthful. It's got its value across the board, from the highest engagement factor that you could possibly have online, video communication live with people you could bring in on spur of the moment, or people you could plan on interviewing and set it up and then advertise it in advance. It's got so much that dynamic range of how you present. And then the additional thing of how valuable it is for Google search. People,
Yes.
there's the full gamut of people who think, oh yeah, SEO is the only way to go. Oh yeah, SEO is important. Oh yeah, SEO doesn't matter anymore. People think all those thoughts, and depending upon where their perspective is, they very well could be right. So it depends on what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, whether these things make sense or not. But the bottom line is, with Google Hangouts, you have all the best in all those worlds.
Well, I look at it like this. It's a free tool that Google's given us to market ourselves. And they've given us additional insights in terms of mobile, the 0 moment of truth, micro moments, mobile micro moments, people on mobile devices. And then we have, just in general, the observations that people can make after the fact, meaning, they're commenting after the videos on YouTube and they're sharing it. That to me is the ultimate, is when somebody actually likes your video, likes your content so much, they share it with their network. And I would quickly add to that Google Brand Labs did a study, this is about a month ago, where they've estimated by 2017 that video marketing is going to go up by 74%. So that right there is a big clue that if you're not using video, it's something you really should take the time to look into, because whether you like it or not, other people are doing it.
Yeah. Almost a year ago, it was last October, and just before you and I started hanging out, Molly, I made the declaration to the world from my little pea-brain perspective here in Southern California. I said, it's all about your website, it's all about Google Plus and Hangouts, and it's all about YouTube. And those three things that's what I preach, the internet marketing tripod. And people are still looking at me and going, tripod, what is he talking about? Tripod. It's the three legs that makes your table stand. And if you start out with those three, I don't care if you do a Periscope, I don't care if you do Twitter, I don't care if you do Facebook, but if you start out with those three, you've got something that works. And right now it's the opportunity that influences your Google ranking, which is the notorious thing that everyone's been trying to get since the inception of Google from day one, is how to be on page one of Google. And I've proven that using video and using Google Plus and using your website integrated and associated with those platforms can get you on page one in a matter of minutes. And I know that.
I was just going to say, I've actually seen with my own eyes that people who use YouTube videos, who go in, do Hangouts on there, or they just say record a video and they optimize it for YouTube, I've actually seen those videos outrank organic optimized websites. Meaning,
Absolutely.
If you go and you do type a certain business name, well, you see their videos show up before their website. And to me, that's a key indicator that it's really important for a business to start using video to market themselves. Plus, you've got the mobile factor of people doing a search on mobile. They want information and they want it fast. They don't want to sit there and read through a bunch of stuff. They want to click a button, hear what you have to say, and they're done. Then they make a decision. And it could even turn into a customer. Let's say somebody's out, they want to, I don't know, go to a movie, and they go, where can I find a movie theater? You got a little video out there about, hey, we're the oldest movie theater in Jacksonville. They go, oh, well, that sounds interesting. Maybe let's go check them out. So right there's a micro mobile moment where somebody made a decision right then and there.
Exactly. And the exposure factor has changed so much that people don't realize. If you're out there in the midst of the world, educating people as to what you do and helping people get what they want done, the whole formula of you can have everything you want in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want. Zig Ziglar, I think.
Yes.
If that's the case, everyone says, oh yeah, those are great words. Those are really inspiring and stuff. Guess what? It actually works. So, if you live by the principle of helping people and giving, which is what I based basically the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties show from the very inception. If you start there, you're on the best starting track. And the whole concept of Smarties is give first. You have to be willing to give. You have to be willing to support your product and do all those things. And then you've got something to advertise, somewhere to go, and make the best use of today's advertising and social media. I
agree with you 100%. In fact, I'm going to share a little example. Yesterday, I finally had a chance to watch the movie The Internship. People have been asking me for years to watch the movie. I have not watched it on purpose because I wanted my own experience with Google. But one of my said recommended, you need to watch this movie. So I finally got a chance to watch it last night. And one of the key moments in the movie for me was at the very end when one of the teams, the team that was, not doing very well in the competition, they actually connected with the business owner. And they initially went in and they explained, oh, we've got our analytics and we've got AdWords and we've got all this stuff where you can get your name out there. And the guy's like, listen, I just want to interact with people. I've always done flyers or, TV ads or newspaper ads, and I'm just not interested. And it wasn't until the salesman, the two main characters in the movie, came back, got the team back together, went in and really took the time to explain this isn't about trying to change the way you're marketing your business. It's how people are finding you. And if you don't take the time to put yourself online, either via Hangouts or AdWords or a website or blog, people who are looking for your service are never going to find you. And to me, that was a key point in the movie that, things like what we're doing here today, digital agencies out there that they manage AdWords campaigns and they do digital marketing strategies for people. That's what it's all about. We have all the great tools there are that Google offers, but if a business owner doesn't understand, well, this is how it works, this is how it's going to work for me, it's going to give potential customers the ability to connect with my business online, where I even have an opportunity to make a sale. That to me is why I'm doing what I'm doing here. I want to help small businesses succeed. The only way I can do that is to share my information, and I don't claim to know everything. By no means do I know everything, but I do know about certain subjects that I think are going to help small businesses.
Yeah, and I agree totally. I don't know everything about internet marketing, although people listening to me have often said, oh, Roland's an encyclopedia, blah, blah, blah. I'm not, I admit that. But I do know a lot about a lot of things. And the more important things, I've sifted through a lot of stuff that doesn't matter and sifted through the things that are absolutely fundamentally eminent that you have to have. And so that's my starting point, and that's what I start with. And if I teach people how to grab that, then they're on the right path. And then if they want to add to that, if they want to do SEO, if they want to do blogging, they don't want to do these things, those are all great additives. But don't even start that until you've got your fundamental platform down with something that's going to work. So I like to build a vehicle for people that's going to cause them to be able to pedal their bike and make some traction and get down the road. I just wanted to let you know, Molly, that I'm going to send Nancy Stubbs an invitation to the green room and hope that she joins us, because she's making a lot of comments on a Blab, and I think that she's done a lot of that, and I'm sure that many other people have too. But I'm just wanting to pick her brain a little bit on Blab. So we might go to that. Is that one of the subjects that you had in mind for this hour?
I'm open. I'm open to talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. So
okay. I want to reserve the last quarter of the hour at least, or at least sometime soon. I want to reserve some time for you to pick out the latest Google stuff or any stuff that you think is worth mentioning and that what people might be interested in. In the meantime, I'm hoping that Nancy is still around and got my invitation. So Nancy, if you did, leave a comment in the comment stream or something and possibly step on in. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned that William Rock is out in the audience pounding away on the posting. And I appreciate your presence too, William. And I just might be inclined to invite you in too. That would be a good idea. So either way, I'm going to send William Rock an invitation too. But I'm hoping that Nancy Stubbs will join us.
Well, so while you're sending out some invitations, I just quickly would like to touch upon optimizing for Google Maps as well. That's something I get a lot of questions about, is how can I get the top results on Google Maps? And in this Google Small Business community over the last month, I've done a series of posts. I still have my last post to do, but I've had a lot of people very interested in that and respond to the fact that it really just takes an investment in time in learning what it takes to optimizing your business. And I don't mean just for Google Maps. I mean for search, Google Maps, video marketing, just in general, getting your business out there, social media marketing. That, don't even get me started on that, because I'll ramble on that for about 2 hours. But it really is just about communicating to the people online that you're there. Tell them who you are and what you do. And I mean, I know that sounds pretty simple, but that really is what it's about. It's about telling them who you are and what you do. So.
Yeah, Nancy's joining us.
Yes.
While she's coming on there, I wanted to say too, what you're talking about is, as far as your subjects and stuff, social media. Most people look at social media like, oh yeah, you've got to post between 11 and 7. And you have to do it twice a day, you have to do this and that. And they don't even talk about how you should be doing it or what you should be saying. And the modus operandi is much deeper than the time signature and how often you post. The timing is very, very important, that you do it regularly and so forth. But what you're doing and how you're doing it is way more important than whether you do it on time. And so that's just my little comment. And before we go on and we get lost in more conversation, welcome, Nancy. How you doing? Froze and came back, I think. I'm not hearing Nancy's voice. Is everybody still hearing me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Maybe she might be muted, or her microphone may not be on.
Yeah.
Or
Nancy, let's see if we can solve the technical
could be her
issue.
settings. I would have her check her settings first to make sure she can, her.
I don't see any Hangout settings that are wrong, but Nancy, maybe we might have the wrong assignment on your end as far as the microphone input to feed into the Hangout. So I believe it might be on your end there.
Yeah, so Nancy, what you're going to want to do is you'll take your mouse and you'll navigate it to the very top of the Hangout, and you'll see a little sub-menu come up, and there's a little sprocket. And you just click on that little sprocket right there, and then that'll display your settings. And so what you're going to want to do, obviously your webcam is working, but what you're going to do is under the microphone and the sound, you're going to want to click default. And then once you do that, save it. And before you save that, you can actually do where it says play test sound to make sure you can hear. And if you hear that sound, go ahead and click save, and then hopefully that will fix our issue here. Okay, well, it's hard for me to tell what's going on. That's the only thing I can suggest, is that it has to be within our settings and why we're not hearing her.
Okay, I think that I don't believe it's the Hangout settings. I believe it's probably a computer setting, and that's overriding whatever the Hangout's doing. So possibly the microphone volume is off, or the assignment is off to the microphone.
Sure. While Nancy is trying to figure that out, I just wanted to add to your comment that in regards to marketing, it is about what content you're sharing, and it is about frequency. I've actually found that, just my social media marketing that I've done for myself, I've actually built an audience, and when I don't post, they're like, Molly, where were you at yesterday? I didn't see any posts from you, and they actually get concerned, which kind of made me feel good that people are actually reading what it is I'm sharing. Hey, I see William joined us, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nancy, were you able to get your settings?
Yeah, unfortunately we're still on mute, or at least that's the effect. Nancy, I've been looking forward to having you in for weeks, and all of a sudden we have you in there in the green room. You look great, but we have no sound. So whatever the case is, if we can't accomplish fixing that, we have to have you in at another time, and you basically have a free ticket to join us in the green room when we open the doors for that. And sorry about that, but you're welcome to stay in here and continue to work on that, and just blurt out and interject when you come live. In the meantime, we will be welcoming William Rock to the green room. Come on in.
Hey, guys.
Come on in, William.
Fantastic show, you guys. This is great information. So just
you know what?
in the comments below. So
yeah, the people are commenting in the stream, and it's hard for me to even keep up with them. But there, one of the things that I'm always aware of in my Hangout series is that I can't keep up with everybody. I end up spending an hour, 2 hours, or more after the program analyzing what they've said and responding to the people, because I don't want them to go thinking, gee, I said this thing and nobody heard me. Because very often people say things that are very, very worthwhile. And if we were sitting in a different situation where the round table discussion could be heard by all, it'd be much more a different dynamic. So although we are making use of the dynamic as it is, I do want to acknowledge those people making good comments. And Nancy is prolific at saying smart stuff, so I really wanted to get her in here today. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we can figure it out for us to bring her in too. But meanwhile, the subject that we're leaning towards at the very moment, and we want to spend maybe another 5 minutes, was on Blab. And I would ask William Rock, what is your experience with Blab, and a real quick opinion on how it fits together with Hangouts?
Okay, cool. I've I've been actually one of those guys that went out in the beginning days of Blab. So when we actually got the beginning stage of beta, I think I was 6 days out from beta.
Wow.
Got an opportunity to meet a lot of people and engage with people in this type of space where we're talking face-to-face across the world, but in my Twitter stream. So there's a lot of people that I've chatted with in the past. I've had a Twitter account, I think, since 2009. And so I've got quite a bit of followers, but at the same time as you don't get that same interaction, right? But with Blab, you get on, you know, I call it the Brady Bunch. So 4 panels, right? And with Brady Bunch, you basically have everybody's talking at the same time. You're all looking at, you know, the screen. And what I like about Google Plus versus Blab is really the interaction where, you know, you can sit there and see who's talking at what time during the Hangout. But in the 4 boxes, it makes it a little difficult when you export it to YouTube. Then you still have the boxes, but you don't see the other interaction that's happening on the chat. You just get to see the video. And so some of it doesn't quite make sense, and I think that they're making a lot of improvements for that. I think the other difficulty is for a host like yourself, Roland, to be able to actually host a show. You know, we've got you know, Mark Traphagen doing his shows now, but you end up with kind of a mixed bag of people. And so you never know who's going to be on your show, who's going to join the Blab. It's kind of like the roll of the dice, I think.
Right. So just a real quick interchange on that. How's it going, Nancy? Any luck? No, we're still dealing with it. So sorry. But coming back, coming back to your concept, William, you know, what I have in mind is using Blab as a format to start a conversation before transferring a group to a Google Hangout. Now, not everybody might come, but if I'm talking in Blab for half an hour or an hour, stirring up trouble, so to speak, and not worrying about it being a show, but just introducing a subject and dwelling on the subject, and controversial or not, or it gets a following or not, whatever, I take that energy and then transfer it to the Google Hangouts, which starts at the next consecutive time slot. And some of those people will come on over, and so we've got a fresh kickstart of conversation that's already going. And if, as long as I conduct the conversation so that it feeds what I'm going to be presenting in the Hangout, then I've really got a catalyst for a good mix. I've already got my stew brewing.
And that's kind of what I'm doing, Roland, too. Basically, I'm going out, and I've been more of an active Google Plus person than I have. I've had all these accounts prior. I've had the Pinterest, I've had the Twitters, and all that stuff when I first started marketing. But I never really went back and touched those. But now I'm utilizing the capabilities of all of those. And then even with Blab, you know, it brings a new opportunity with Twitter to bring followers to shows like this. And expand your reach, and then also exposes the people that you may have already known. You followed their stuff. You actually went through and read it, and you just like felt it was like the best of the best, but you never got that interaction like we're doing now. You know,
right.
Looking at your facial expressions, how you respond, it's totally different on camera, and I think that's where Blab really excels too. It's you're on camera all the time.
Yeah, it's
I have a quick comment.
Go ahead.
I have a quick comment. A client of mine, she's a lady bail bondsman, and she's here in Jacksonville, and their business is hurting right now. And I suggested to her, I said, well, you do bails nationally, don't you? She says, yeah, we do them nationally. I said, well, you know, why don't you just expand your area instead of just doing, you know, Jacksonville, and we call it Florida's First Coast, but there's several counties that are in Florida's First Coast. I said, well, why don't you just start doing it, you know, across the United States? Well, I don't know about that because, you know, I really like to interview the person I'm bonding. I don't blame her. You know, she's putting up money to bail somebody out of jail. And she goes, I really can't do that over the phone. I want to be able to see that person, talk to them, and see their reaction to see, well, are they acting shady or are they really being honest and they want my help? And so I told her,
are they crossing their fingers behind their back?
And so I said, I have a solution for you. I said, we're going to get you on Google Hangouts on Air, and then you can start interviewing these potential clients via Hangouts, and then that way you will be able to see. That right there is a real-world, real-case scenario where a business owner needs to see the reaction of their customer, and there's a reason why they need to see that that reaction. And you can also record Google Hangouts on Air privately, meaning it's not available to the general public. It's something that's just a one-on-one conversation between her and a potential customer. But I just wanted to quickly throw out there that was, a real case scenario where video chat is very useful, and Google Hangouts on Air does it. Blab. I will quickly add just to your conversation about Blab that in addition to using Blab, you could also, in theory, host an event on Blab and use social sharing tools to broadcast that, so people can watch the live event on Blab as well.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that, even in the job space, you've got all these candidates out there, and what I've used Hangouts for was with a recruiting agency. So they got out and they started interviewing. So you had the employer that was actually wanting the person, you had the recruiter, and you had the possible employee. And all three of them were in a hangout together privately, and now they got a chance to actually do, without being in front of the client itself, but do a beginning interview to see if this candidate even was a possibility to then take it to the next level.
That is great stuff. I mean, when I think about the implications, I don't know how we survived before this, other than that we had no clue or no idea that it was possible, so there wasn't a factor. But as it's getting more and more prolific, I mean, Hangouts should be wildfire. It should not be the stuff that, gee, we're going to Twitter, and then Twitter's looking at Google Hangouts going, wow, I didn't know these exist. Well, we've been around for 4 years almost, and and Twitter's thinking, yeah, Blab's the thing. What is this Hangouts thing? But the crossing over of the education of it all has not been complete. So really, the Hangout wave is just on the very verge of what's going on. As far as the influence that it has on the overall general market, it's going to be vast, and it's going to be a staple that the world uses. But right now, it's like the new thing that's been around for years. It just is appalling.
I would quickly add to that comment that one of the scenes in the internship that I watched was Google was interviewing the main characters. And it was so funny because we're all used to Hangouts, so we all know how the controls work. But it was really funny because they were in a kid's library, and they're both, they got their business suits on, they're working with the controls, and they're yelling at each other, and then all of a sudden they go, "We can hear you," and then, "We can see you," but the Googlers were saying, "We can hear you, we can see you," and I just busted out laughing whenever that happened because I was just like, this is a real-world scenario of we've got this awesome tool, and there's so many people out there that aren't using it, and that's why I think, opportunities like the Smarties show and other shows out there, and even just one-on-one Hangouts, is such a great platform that Google's offered us. We've come up with just a couple of solutions here today on real-world scenarios on how Hangouts can be used. So great stuff.
World-changing information, absolutely. World-changing. And before we go on, I want to say hi to Randy Smith, who we touch bases on every once in a while, and he was a regular watcher of the Smarties before we took our summer break in August. So welcome back, and thank you for commenting, Randy, and nice having you here with us today. And have we made any progress whatsoever with your microphone? No. Still not working. Okay. Maybe we can work on that on the side after the Hangout and see what we can do about fixing that. Nancy, because I would have loved to have you in the conversation. I'm sure you've got something to say. I've thought that in the last couple of months that I wanted to have you involved with us in some way, so next time we'll be able to bring you in. And that such being the format that we're developing for the Smarties, the opportunities are better and better that we'll do that. So we will have you in again. And so if I'm missing anything in the comment stream, I'm sorry, but I will go over the comments again later on, and we'll discuss individually and make comments back and forth for the comment stream. Thank you very much for contributing, everybody. By the way, we could have said...
I was just going to say, I would quickly add, Roland, I'm actually kind of glad that Nancy's kind of experiencing a technical difficulty, because this is, again, another real-world interaction. This is what really happens on Hangouts. There are times that we have technical issues. And Zara Altair, she's a Hangout provider, and her little quote is, what's a Hangout without a freak out? You know, and I think the sooner we learn that there's going to be technical issues, there's going to be flub-ups, there's going to be, it's actually raining cats and dogs where I'm at right now, so I'm getting little frozen screens from time to time, but I think if you just address the problem and just accept the fact, okay, there's going to be problems, and it's not about the problem itself, it's how you handle that problem. And it's like you said, okay, we can't get it working now, we'll work on it after the show. So, great stuff. Thanks, Roland.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we were stepping out of internet marketing with this, but it's so freaking important to realize what you said earlier about it. It's not what happens to you in life, it's how you handle it, it's how you deal with it. It is your response and your reaction and the action you take from the point of realization that you got this problem or whatever. It's how you move forth from there. It's not being stuck and hung up on, oh, gee, I've got this problem. What am I going to do? And it'll be lagging out because of your indecision on taking action. So we have to understand everything's, you know, well, as they say, life happens. Okay, that's a given. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do from a moment to moment, second to second, instance for instance, choice that you make about your attitude and what you do with the next step that you're going to do, whatever it is. And so the best thing to do is be positive, take it in stride, and be ready to take action. And sometimes the action is, oh, well, it's the best we can do. And that is livable. That is something that we can live with. And we have had some difficulties in our Saturday morning Hangouts on a regular basis. Something goes wrong. Nothing's perfect. But when we get to the end of it, if the people are saying, well, we really got a lot of great information and it was worthwhile and I'm glad I was there, and then, you know, not only that, they come back next week and re-engage with you then. So I'm glad that they come back. I'm glad that we have a nice regular group of people that come here, and we're going to try to sustain the value of this conversation so it always makes sense to have another one next week. So although we couldn't get you included, Nancy, I'm really sorry. But before we exit out of the hour, I wanted to go back to Molly, who had prepared like a half a dozen subjects that she could talk about. But at least let's pick a couple of them and introduce them to the world.
Yeah, so there's a few things that I've been posting about Google Maps optimization. I mean, actually getting in there and, you know, following the steps on what it takes. In fact, what I'll do is I will post a few of those posts that I did so people can just go read them. Another thing that we talked about, and actually it was with William, we did a website audit for a client of his, and the Hangout went really, really well. It was a very, you know, a lot of times you say website audit and people go, you know, oh my God, they're going to rip it apart and tear it to shreds and all this stuff. And this particular Hangout was very, very constructive. There were some great tools that William went over. I tried to focus on, you know, instead of counteracting, just taking it in stride and what a business owner can do to either fix a website. And I'll even come out and say it. If you have a website that has a ton of errors, you know, based on the website audit that we did, there was a lot of errors. I mean, it was just a lot of them. There was a lot of redirects and a lot of 404s, and there was a lot of coding issues, and there was just a lot of stuff missing. Sometimes I'm just going to tell the business owner, listen, the amount of time it's going to take me to go in and fix all this stuff, I could just scrap it and build you a new website. And I've actually done that for a couple of clients of mine. They've come to me. I had this one guy, I swear to God, he had literally thousands of webmaster errors. And I was like, listen, the amount of time it's going to take me to go in and fix all these software 404s and all these other errors. I mean, he had duplicate title tags and duplicate descriptions and just keyword errors. And I was just like, listen, it's really best to just scrap what you have and just let me build you a new one. So that's what we wound up doing. So,
wow.
Yeah.
It reminds me of several projects that I've had lately also. And what I do for some of my clients is I set up a temporary website and I build them a version of their website in WordPress or whatever, and I show them, this is what I had in mind, and they're going, oh wow, and they get to see what their original website looks like versus the possibilities of a new one, and then it opens their mind to new possibilities. And then we say, yeah, we can build this parallel to yours, and when the time comes, we're going to inject it right in there and replace the website that you have. And then it's like, wow, I never thought that was possible, and I never knew that my website needed so much. But it's only taken like the last 3 years or so to make everything that people have done prior to that outdated and obsolete. So, I mean, really, right now, everyone should be making the change with their website and doing what you do, Molly. So
I would actually quickly add to that just a couple of the tools that we shared. Google Search Console, which is formerly known as Google Webmaster Tools, great tool. It's totally free. In fact, recently there was an article, and this is just an FYI for security purposes, but a lot of hackers are maliciously attacking websites because they're allowed to add themselves on as a verified user. So it's very important to make sure that you regularly check your user list if you are signed up for Google Search Console, and make sure you are the only verified user. That way, you don't have any security issues. In addition to that, Google PageSpeed and the Google Mobile Friendly tool are also great free tools that a business owner or website owner can just go check out. Here's my web page, mobile friendly, and do I have a good page speed? So just wanted to quickly share those tools.
Cool. Now I'm going to inject right here that I'm always amiss when I do this. I remember to get my lower third up, but nobody else has it up. And my fault is that I should be telling you as you come in, Molly, gee, we're about to start in a couple of minutes, put your freaking lower third up. And so you can do that. And Nancy,
I have a story about that. I have a story about that. I've got so many titles that I can't get it all to fit in. And within my community, I have to use the exact title they give me. So imagine a lower third with Google Rising Star, Google Partners Community Ambassador, and Google Small Business Community Advisor. Okay, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Of course not. The Google lady. I'm telling you, it's got to be the Google lady. Okay, so Nancy, if you've got a lower third, you're welcome to add it. And William, you're welcome when you come on to do the same. We really don't stand here in front of the masses and say, by the way, I've got a special going on right now for websites. I don't like to do that. I am pitchless when it comes to this show. But as far as
see my lower third's on there for you. So you see it?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're a rock star.
And I want to be a rock star. But anyway, my philosophy. And get ready, Molly, because we're going to come back to you for one more concept before we close. But my concept with Marketing Smarties is based on a philosophy that was born back when we were networking in person in like the tip groups and BNI, this type of stuff. And that is that if you go out and help people and go out and expose people to what you do, you don't have to sell yourself to sell yourself. And when you go out and help people, they're automatically going to find out what it is you do. And when they have a need that fits the category that you represent, they're going to think of you first. Not because you've been pressuring them with a bunch of advertising, but because they like you, they know you, they trust you. What are the 3 principles in internet marketing? Those are the 3. Know, like, and trust. So work with the basics, but understand what they mean and how they represent you and your company and your relationship with the people, and know what's important to get that know, like, and trust. It's not about putting the best ads out on Facebook. So Molly, we're going to come back to you now, and maybe one last concept or pitch for a new concept that people may be interested in.
Yeah, so Google and Twitter, I don't know if people know, but they actually partnered recently, and I do mean partner. Google did not buy Twitter, so let me just make that very clear. But they are coming up with a new platform that's going to rival Facebook's instant messages. And I am personally very excited about it because I do posts all the time. You know, I just try to share posts about, you know, different tools or apps or Google updates or just, you know, news in general that I think is going to benefit people. I pretty much post every day on my Google Plus profile, which in turn posts across all of my social network profiles. So, you know, if you just want to check out some of the stuff I'm doing, I invite you to check it out. It's such a wide variety. I mean, I'm talking about Hangouts and AdWords and analytics and Google My Shopping and you know, how to optimize for maps, and I mean, I've done all types of different series. I'm in the Google Small Business community. I do posts pretty much every day. One of the things I've been doing a lot are polls. I found that they're very, very useful, actually, to get potential leads. And a lot of people go, "What do you mean you're going to use a poll to find leads?" And what I mean by that is, like, I'll come up with a subject, and I'll put on there, you know, yeah, I'm already doing this, or, well, maybe this is a good idea, or, no, I haven't done this, or, I'd like to learn more how to do this. And that's the one that I always find gets a lot of attention, is those people who maybe they don't know about a certain subject, they click that, well, I'd like to learn more. Well, then there's an opportunity to go back to that post, say after, you know, 3 or 4 days when people have had a chance to look at it, and go look at the users that click that option. I'd like to learn more. And then you have created an opportunity where you can learn that customer wants to learn more information about whatever it was you posted. So then you can actually go on Google Plus and friend them, and then if you want to approach that person, say, hey, I saw you commented on my poll. I saw that you wanted to learn more information about, let's just say in this case, AdWords. I'm here to help out. In this particular instance, I'm an AdWords pay-per-click manager. I know how to set them up. I know how to manage them. I know how to produce a return on the investment. You know, this is something you might consider, you know, working with me on, and then giving that person options. And a lot of people are like, oh, I can't afford it. I explain to them, this is not an expense for your company or your business. This is an investment. And what I mean, the difference between an expense and an investment is an expense, it's gone. You spent it, that's it. But with an investment, you're going to get a return on that. And if you utilize some of the tools that Google's given us where you can get a return on investment, you can work with a person that they've got the expertise, the skill set, the knowledge, the experience, and the backing, then you're going to see a return on investment. William has a very common phrase that he says, you know, if I'm going to spend $1 on a click, I need to get $3 back, meaning I need to get $2 more based on what I've already spent. And those are the people that you're going to find in, say, the Google Partners community. All those people are trained for all these googly tools that people don't understand. They've taken time to take tests, certifications. They've got something now called the Specialist Challenge where they're getting certified for mobile and shopping and AdWords fundamentals. There's so many different certifications now, I can't remember them all. But that's what I'm saying is if you don't know about a certain subject, don't be afraid to ask. There's no harm in asking somebody, hey, I want to learn more about this subject, can you help me out? So that would be my last little take on what I'm here to talk about today.
Thanks, Molly. And you always bring a lot to the table, and I appreciate it, so thank you very much. Now, before we wrap it up for the day, we're going to go over about 3 minutes. But I posted a couple things in the comment stream, and this is by no means anything that I'm applying pressure on people to do or react or respond to the links that I give you. But I want you to consider it. And for those of you who are benevolent pantry participants and stuff like that, um, I would I would offer that the first link with Barbara Quick and GoFundMe, I say go send Barbara Quick $5. And now if you don't, I don't care. If you do, I love you, and I hope that you'll help out, because if we have several hundred people send $5, it's going to help Barbara. Now, why help Barbara? Barbara is probably one of the nicest people I have ever met. Right down to the core, she is nice. And she's never got a negative attitude. She doesn't complain about anything. And if anybody has a right to complain, it would be Barbara, because she's got a husband that has his medical problems. She has her own medical problems. She's got a syndrome with her neck muscles that sometimes her head drops down to the front like this, and she cannot pick up her head. Now, this is the lady that's taking care of a husband, a son-in-law, and a daughter, all with medical issues. And they have drained their bank accounts and paid for this stuff. And the son-in-law is waiting on open heart surgery and has had a recent stroke and is in a wheelchair and has been instructed not to walk around. I mean, he's not supposed to do anything. This is the type of things that are influencing her life. So I'm thinking to myself, if I do nothing, then I am amiss. And if anyone needs help with anybody that I know right now, it's Barbara. And then the way we can influence that is if we go to this GoFundMe and drop her $5. So that's the end of that. Thank you very much, whoever contributes. I appreciate it. The other thing that I want to share is that Lynn Sanders is having a thing called the Difference Makers Summit, and it starts on the 18th next week. And by the way, it starts on my birthday, September 18th, and I'm the opening speaker. So September 18th, I'm going to be speaking in the summit. And the only reason I bring that up is I don't want people wishing me happy birthday and stuff. I don't care, but I want you to remember the date. And if you go and register early, there's nothing that you have to buy. You can watch the entire series 7 weeks straight live, and you can go. I don't have enough time to describe everybody participating, but you know Lynn Sanders, you know V. Lynn Hawkins, you know Virginia Parsons, and there are several other people who are even better known than we are, who are going to be presenting and participating in the Summit Series. So it's going to be of value. I'm going to come in on the 18th and open it up and hopefully do my best in what I'm speaking of. And I'm going to avoid, as much as I can, I'm going to avoid the subject of internet marketing. Even though that's my subject, I'm going to avoid the subject because what I have to present is more important than internet marketing, but it will influence everything that you do in internet marketing. So that's my pitch for the Lynn Sanders Difference Makers Summit, and I've put links in for both of those things. And if anyone has some closing words, you're welcome. And I'm so sorry that you're not able to speak, Nancy. I want to reiterate that you're welcome back next week, and we'll have you in and discuss whatever it is you'd like to discuss, because you made the effort. You came in when I asked, and I appreciate you responding. So anyone else have some closing words? William Rock, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome, sir. Thanks for having me on the show. I think the last thing I want to leave everybody with is don't forget to go out and verify your business listing and Google My Business. Do a quick Google search, type in Google My Business, and you'll find out a ton of information about the product. It is free, but it takes advantage of a lot of things Molly was talking about with mobile. It is going to actually drive a lot of our leads, and if you're not taking advantage of that, you're kind of missing out with your competitors because they're going to take advantage of it.
Very good. Thank you very much, William, and thank you very much for joining us today and being a part of this. And Molly, did you have anything to wrap up for the day?
Yeah, I just would add to what William just said that really setting up your Google My Business listing is not a big deal. It really is just an investment of time. And William and I are actually going to be talking about Google My Business here in the next week or so. So I would invite our audience members, if you're interested in learning about some of the inside tips of Google My Business, maybe once we get it situated get it scheduled, I will post a link in the events page, and we'd love to have you stop by.
Sounds good. So we've covered a lot of things today and introduced a lot of subjects. The primary reason that I did this today was to kind of ignite some brain cells among the audience, and we definitely did that. And people are thinking about stuff. One of the predominant subjects is blab, and which is why I brought Nancy in. And we're going to bring her back maybe next week and plan more of an extended discussion on blab. As a matter of fact, on the fly, I'm thinking maybe, Nancy, you would like to get into a blab discussion before the hangout on next Saturday. So we want to talk about that, and maybe that's a possibility. But we also want to troubleshoot your microphone problem and make sure you'll be live with us, because this pantomime thing is not working for me. Yeah, but thank you very much for joining us either way. With that, I want to say thank you for the audience members who all joined us on Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. We are back live and we plan on staying here as long as possible. And thank you very much for joining us here today. Everybody have a great day and a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.